as a student, and I was in England, so the proximity to Europe was again. I was friends with somebody called Tom Pravda, who would just travel, and as an Indian, instead of coming all the way back home, I would just stay with friends over spring break and over the winter break and just come back for the summer. And once we went into the Morocco, into the Sahara Desert, and 3 days and 3 nights we spent. We went on camels, 3 of us, Alice and Tom and me. We went on a bus and we went to the last possible place. It was a sort of sandy hut at the edge of the desert. And we stayed the night there with Muhammad, who was our guide. And they were seasoned travelers, Tom and Alice, so they had sleeping bags. I didn't have a sleeping bag. So I just slept on the floor, and there was no electricity. So when the candle went out, just before the candle went out, I looked at the walls, and it was like I thought the walls were moving. And then I realized they were covered in insects. And then the light went out, and I was like, oh no! And it was like a horror movie. And then plop, plop, they started to fall off the ceiling. Was I telling you my fun experience? Right? Let me start this one. I was covered in bites. But of course, because it was so dry, they festered many weeks later when I went back to Spain. Then we went into the desert on 3 camels. Riding a camel is not easy, especially if you have small legs like me, and my camel had a very big hump. So I literally got friction burns on my bum. It was not fun. The second day I spent walking through the Sahara Desert, which is also very difficult. We ran out of water on the 3rd day. It was an experience, but what was the most that I remember about it was the stars and lying there at night under these stars and just thinking this is just the experience of being without water. When we got to Marrakesh to have like the first soft drink that we had was like the best soft drink I've ever had, just because we've been deprived of things for so long. And testing your limits. And so I remember that. I remember hitchhiking to Paris, and again with Tom Proctor. I don't think I would have done this without a travel buddy who pushes you. I think Paris for me, a place that I've been to so many times in different stages of my life. One as a child of parents who like to do these sort of hotel itinerary things, and you go to Euro Disney and you go to see the Louvre and all of that, and it's sort of sanitized and comfortable. And then you go as a student where we went walking all over. We actually hitchhiked to Paris. We spent the night in a train station outside of Calais in sub-zero temperatures. Then we got to Paris and walked the city. And that was lovely. And in fact, I walked the Champs-Élysées blindfolded. Just to get, this was Tom's idea again, saying it's a trust-building exercise. And then he was blindfolded and I had to guide him. And I realized actually during that walk how I was slowly taking the reins from him and becoming in control of my journey. And then I went back as an actor to work on a film that never released. But it was great fun to shoot there. And we were shooting in front of the Eiffel Tower, and I was watching a lot of people looking at us as opposed to, like this wonder of the world, and thinking how strange that is. And then I went back with my now husband, and he proposed to me under the Eiffel Tower. So we have this log. I want to take my daughter there. And I think, when we were talking, and I was looking at the briefing about what is the next trend, it's certainly like Ina and I went on a mother-daughter holiday just a couple of months ago. And that was incredibly memorable for me. We went to Goa and we spent 3 days, just her and me. And we really, really bonded. And we just spent all day on the beach and, then in the pool and then eating lots of things and just conversing and, she stayed up late and it was just fun. But I think that is something that I definitely want to do more of. So in my future holidays, I see her and me doing mother-daughter trips, and definitely having spent the last 5 years losing my identity to motherhood. I want to apologize to my friends. Say I'm still there for them. Yeah, say, listen, if you're still there and interested, I would like to go on some friend holidays and and just find my friends again.
Yeah. So are you also coming up with another book, which is going to be your holiday journeys?
Well, there was a lovely. There was a big chapter of my book that was devoted to travel, because it's been such an important part of my life. And I do love coming home as well. And I am a creature of habit, and I do like consistency. But I just feel like life is short and there's so much to see and so much to learn from. And I definitely have done the hotels a lot. And I've enjoyed hotel life as well. But for me, I think when it comes to travel, it is Airbnb because you feel not like an outsider when you go to a city. You really get a very unique, privileged sort of perspective on living as an insider in a city, living in someone's home, and all the perks and challenges that come with that as well. But it's a very unique experience. So that's the future.
Awesome. That again makes me smile. I think my two takeaways, and one is of course what Soha said towards the end, to be an Airbnb traveler, but most importantly, find Tom in your life. you need to do fun stuff like walking blindsided.
I have never ever done a solo holiday. Ever.
Oh wow.
I know, I've heard a lot about it, and I have a lot of girlfriends who tell me that, how can you not have done it? Have you? Yeah. I'm a little scared, really. I'm scared, but I think that is my challenge as well for the future because I definitely need some solo time.
Wow. We're going to catch up with you right after this and start
Yeah.
planning one
So
the solo trip for you on it.
Tell me where to go by myself,
Absolutely.
and then find me if I get lost.
Absolutely. I think good segue, Lisa. I know you were saying you have done some solo traveling. I also know that Airbnb has spoken a lot about living and working anywhere, and you did spend some time in Karja and working there. So, would love to hear about that.
Where do I begin? I think Saiba knows this, and I was like, how am I going to fill this time? So, the evening of the first day, which was like maybe 3 or 4 hours, we did a beer and walking tour, which was fantastic, with just a group of strangers. The morning I woke up and I did a historic Hanoi French Quarter tour, and through a local's perspective, I mean, I'm going to go do that. And especially in places like Vietnam, which have such a bloody and rich history, there's just so much learning that's done in these tours, and you imbibe so much information and history when you go on these experiences. So that's one. But for my partnerships with Airbnb, unintentionally, and it was completely spur of the moment thing. We hadn't planned on doing this. But my band was with me, and I wanted to treat everybody to just free.
Thank you.
This camera, please.
अरे भाई चले हो गया डाले मैं डाले वो सर
फोटो चाहिए तो वैसा पीछे
या रेडी
Thank you. Yeah, please give me. सोहा मैम एक मिनट
कहाँ देखूँ मैं?
वुमेन इंटरनेशनल डे है वुमेन इंटरनेशनल डे है दिस पूरा वीक वी आर गोइंग टू डू सम ऑफ द अदर सेगमेंट आज भी कुछ अनोखा हमने देखने मिला है जहाँ पे बहुत सी बातें हुई कहीं ट्रिप की बात हुई है तो कहीं लाइफ के अप डाउन्स की बात हुई है क्या कुछ कहना चाहोगे उन सभी वुमेन्स के लिए देयर आर मेनी वुमेन स्टिल वी कैन सी देयर आर मेनी प्रॉब्लम्स which are going through but still women they are putting their 100%.
आई थिंक वुमेंस डे पे मैं यही कहना चाहती हूँ कि दे आर डिफरेंट. इंडिया इज़ अ बिग कंट्री. नॉट एवरीबडी इन इंडिया इज़ इन द 21st सेंचुरी. और मैं अपने आप को बहुत ही प्रिविलेज्ड मानती हूँ कि मेरी जो लाइफ है, मेरे जो ड्रीम्स हैं, सपने थे, वो सब के पीछे मेरे माँ बाप ने पूरा अपना सपोर्ट दिया. मुझे पता है कि काफ़ी लड़कियों के साथ ऐसा नहीं होता है. जहाँ तक शिक्षा की बात होती है, जहाँ तक शादी की बात होती है, जहाँ तक माँ बनने की बात होती है, उनका कोई उनका सुनता ही नहीं है, उनकी आवाज़ ही नहीं होती है. तो टू टॉक अबाउट दीज इश्यूज़, और जहाँ तक एज एन एक्टर
to talk about cinema and to talk about digital content or to talk about the representation of women on screen, in front of the screen, behind the screens, वो situation कैसा है. मैं मानती हूँ कि हम काफ़ी आगे आ चुके हैं and especially as a woman in her 40s अभी बहुत सारे roles हैं actors के लिए. और आप देख चुके होंगे एक्टर्स इन देयर 40s आर बीइंग रिप्रेजेंटेड ऑन स्क्रीन, एक्टर्स इन देयर 50s एंड देयर 60s. और मैं अपनी माँ की बात करूँ तो गुलमोहर आने वाली है डिज्नी हॉटस्टार पे, और वो तो अपनी लेट 70s में है. And it's such a fantastic role for her. So things are changing behind the scenes. पहले तो सिर्फ लड़कियों को आप सिनेमा में कॉस्ट्यूम डिपार्टमेंट में हेयर ड्रेसर की तरह देखती थी, लेकिन अभी सिनेमाटोग्राफर्स, DOPs, साउंड डिपार्टमेंट में, एडिटिंग में, lyricists, singer-songwriters, there are lots of different roles for women. But as I said, we're just scratching the surface and we have a long way to go.
लोगों ने अपना खुल के विचार रखा, कई लोगों ने अपनी स्टोरी बताई, उसके बारे में क्या कहना है?
बस मैं सबसे पहले थैंक्स कहना चाहती हूँ Airbnb को, क्योंकि इनका इनिशिएटिव था और मुझे बहुत कुछ सीखने को भी मिला. एज Airbnb क्या वो करते हैं फॉर वीमेंस एम्पावरमेंट, और मुझे ये भी सीखने को मिला कि बहुत जो सारे मैक्सिमम जो होस्ट्स हैं इंडिया में वो वुमेन हैं, और उनको एक इनकम अपॉर्चुनिटी मिलता है जो वो अपने घर्स, अपने प्रॉपर्टीज़ को Airbnb पे डालते हैं. then they get revenue from that and they tie up with lots of women also, women artisans, whether it's in Pondicherry like stories we were hearing, or Karjat, you know, women who tie up with experiences through Airbnb and उनको भी फिर एक economic independence का opportunity मिलता है. So these are one of the many ways that we're trying to move forward in India and trying to address things like gender equity.
Being a mother, what you would like to say to all the other mothers? Still we can see, this is the time where we can see the women are so busy, so that they are not able to spend that much of time, where the children need all such times. And we see always you taking an initiative, whether it's any festival, whether it's any vacation, we always see on you on the social media spending time with your child. So what you would like to say?
I am very lucky that I live a life that gives me time, that I have a career where I can choose the things that I want to do, that I chose to have a daughter, of course, later in life, but that I can now devote a lot of my time to her, towards her education, towards her upbringing. क्योंकि मैं मानती हूँ कि एक माँ बनना, एक पेरेंट बनना एक रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है. आप एक्चुअली एक इंसान को, एक शख्स को शेप करके आप सोसाइटी में भेज रहे हैं, तो वो किस किस्म का इंसान बनेगा वो आपके हाथों में भी है. Of course, there are other influences as well. So I think taking out time as a parent is important, but also to depend on other people, क्योंकि आप अकेले ये काम नहीं कर सकते हैं. और जितना आप अपने फ्रेंड्स पे, अपने फैमिली पे, अपने मदर इन लॉ, अपनी मदर, नैनी, केयर टेकर्स पे डिपेंड करते हैं और डेलीगेट करते हैं, वो अच्छा ही होगा. क्योंकि बहुत सारी माँ होते हैं जो सब कुछ खुद करना चाहते हैं और वो बहुत मुश्किल होता है. एंड इट्स ऑल्सो प्रॉब्ली नॉट वेरी हेल्थी.
One last question, a best moment with your mom which you spent and you remember that?
It's hard to choose one moment with your mother, but recently, अभी हाल ही में ही हम दोनों ने साथ में गुलमोहर देखी, जो उनकी फिल्म है जो आ रही है, जैसे मैंने कहा था, and to see her enjoying watching herself on screen after 12 years, and for me to be so proud of her because she's done really a remarkable job in that. Her performance is very solid, so I feel very proud of her, and you know, to see herself watching herself on screen and feeling happy about that was something very special.
Are you going to give any surprises to all the viewers very soon, just like a new project, anything, something new?
Well, there is a film that I've done after some time. I've done 2 shows in the recent past, but there's a movie which has been produced by Abadanshia, and it's called Chori 2 with Nusrat, who was in Chori 1, of course, and I'm playing the antagonist for the first time in a horror, which is something that I haven't done before. So I am looking forward to that, and hopefully it'll release in cinemas in this year. It's fun.
ब्लू मोहर में भी देखा, कल स्क्रीनिंग था उसका.
हाँ जी, आपने देखी?
हाँ जी,
रोए आप?
मैं गया,
रोए आप? मैं बहुत रोई.
जी मैं भी गया था, देखा, बहुत ही प्यारी मूवी थी. और मैं जानना चाहूँगा आपकी भी कुछ वेब सीरीज वगैरह देखने को मिलेगी?
अभी तो मैंने उसका रिस्पॉन्स दिया, आप सुन नहीं रहे हो. हाँ, छोरी 2 एक फिल्म आ रही है. अभी कैसे आएगी, कहाँ पे आएगी, वो प्रोड्यूसर्स डिसाइड करेंगे, लेकिन एक बहुत ही बेहतरीन फिल्म है. पार्ट 2 है छोरी 1 now this is Chori 2. और इसमें भी एक बहुत ही women's empowerment और एक message तो है, but beyond the message, it's just, I think, for the first time I've been part of an actual, genuine, classic horror film, जहाँ पे hopefully we hope to scare you as well as maybe teach you something also, but definitely to scare you.
Lastly, Women Day wish to all the women.
A very happy Women's Day to everyone out there, man and woman. I think that we're all in this together. And my message is to men that don't feel threatened by women. You know, that we can also try and fight for our dreams without bringing men down. You know, we're working together in this initiative. And I know that, as I said, I come from a place of huge privilege, but I would like to speak for a lot of women who don't have a voice and to say that we definitely need to work towards gender equity, whether it comes to education, especially for young girls, whether it comes to hygiene and sanitary conditions, whether it comes to gender parity in the workplace and equal employment, things like that. We have a long way to go.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.